For Courtenay-Alberni.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to thank my colleague for his speech. And Madam Speaker, we agree with him that the government shouldn't have prorogued Parliament and delayed the rollout of fixing the benefit program, the CERB, which ran out last night at midnight. We completely agree with him that the government waited too long and people are struggling. I'm concerned, though, about his statements around paid sick leave, Madam Speaker. We've got people going to work, and as I cited earlier in the Huffington Post, they wrote that 14% of workers earning less than $16,000 took paid sick leave versus 74% of those earning over $96,000. So, Madam Speaker, clearly workers are going to work because they're afraid that they're not going to be able to make ends meet, feed their family, pay their rent, and they're desperate. And the paid sick leave, what it does is it allows people that have symptoms to COVID to stay home and protect themselves, their coworkers, and the business where they work. Because if COVID spreads in the workplace, they're going to get shut down. If they work at a restaurant and they get sick and they're working with the whole team at the restaurant, they could take a whole restaurant down that's already been closed to protect public health. And now potentially they could get sick and close the restaurant down again, and that business just could be wiped off the face of the map, Madam Speaker. So I want my colleague to speak about what would the Conservatives do to protect those workers and the workplace. We haven't heard them come back on what they would do with CERB. Would they have cut CERB? What would they have done? And what would they have done with paid sick leave? We haven't heard what they'd like to do. So I'm hoping my colleague can talk about what the Conservatives would propose to do to protect those workers and those businesses and the people that closed their doors, lost their jobs or their businesses, that rely on CERB right now, that have nothing, Madam Speaker. So I'm hoping he can answer. Thank you.
Member for Thornhill.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. And I must say, I agree with many of the points that my honourable colleague raised at the beginning of his intervention and his question. Of course, it is absolutely necessary to ensure that workers don't have to choose between going to work and earning a living or staying at home and take the precautions that will protect us all. But for the last 6 weeks of prorogation, the Liberals hiding from scandal, we could have been discussing this in committee between parties. We could have. This is a massive change to the Canada Labour Code. It is in many ways in potential conflict with provincial jurisdictions. Employers and boards of trade, chambers of commerce should have been engaged in the long-term discussion of how to make this effective in those areas where it's essential, but also in ways that it's not exploited as we've seen exploited, for example, in Ontario with regards to teachers and their abuse. I mean, the school boards are very clear in saying that their contracted sick days have been abused in a variety of ways. They've been reduced, but they are still a huge cost consideration and a challenge to continuity in teaching in public schools. So this is a consideration that we wish had been considered.
And comments, the